It has been a struggle for the people of Bohol to cope with the devastation and death unleashed by a 7.2 killer quake. It was a tragedy. It brought tears. Every step of the way, our people in Bohol endured the test. The president and the entire nation rallied to their call for help. Slowly, they are rising from the ruins. 3 weeks after, they are overcoming the odds to be triumphant. Tonight, we are blessed to have with us here via phone patch from Bohol is Governor Edgar Chatto. His leadership is a shining example of how others may respond to crisis when it comes. Good evening, sir, and welcome to NewsLife.
Good evening, Kathy. Good evening to everyone.
Sir, it has been 3 weeks after the 7.2 killer quake. What is the overall picture of our people in the whole province, and how are you coping?
Today, Kathy, we're celebrating the 117th birth anniversary of President Carlos P. Garcia, the only Boholano president, and we've always been inspired by the thought that the strength of Boholanos as well as the unity of our people are helping us through these very difficult times in our history. And with the help of everyone, the president, all the cabinet members, the civil and government organizations, and the international community, the Boholanos are now standing on our feet and making things normal here. Our businesses are back. Our tourism is also back, and we are moving forward from the relief period to early recovery by bringing in also more focus on shelter programs and the early recovery stages, Kathy.
Sir, do you continue to get support from the national government and other volunteers from all over?
Yes, Kathy, the support has always been a continued part of our efforts to bring normalcy and likewise to recover from the situation. And of course, we are moving to the regular resumption of classes also. That includes rehabilitation of school buildings and the other infrastructure. We are beating the deadlines for November 20 for all the bridges and roads here that were impassable. Hopefully this will return back to normal also. So this will help in hastening the economic activities and movement of people as well as traveling of both goods and services.
Sir, by now, do you have an overall assessment on the extent of the impact of the earthquake?
Well, if you look at it in terms of damages, infrastructure, for example, of national, provincial, municipal, as well as barangay infrastructures, and even sectoral concerns also in agriculture, for example, we could sum it up to about 4.6 billion pesos, and we have not included there yet computation of the private assets like the homes and the damage totally or partially, and the centuries-old churches, for example, that are priceless national treasures.
Sir, how about our people? How many of them are still living away from their homes? How many of them lost their houses, and what is the health situation?
Well, we had statistics recorded that 12 to 13,000 homes totally damaged, and we have about 30 to 45,000 also that were partially damaged. We have people still staying in tents, but not in the same number as before. We have encouraged people to go back to their respective homes, especially those who already have, whose houses were already checked and are not actually disturbed by the earthquake, except that some people think they're too afraid because of the aftershocks. So these people have started to return back to their homes. So our camps, for example, are lesser in number, and people who are whose houses are damaged either totally or partially have remained in their camps, or some have stayed with their families. And we have activated the different clusters who are looking into healthcare, looking into the camp needs, looking into the other concerns in this very unique situation that is happening. So every aspect of social development has to be looked into also as a component of temporary shelters, for example, in tents in other areas. But as I've said, we started now looking into the 1-year, 2-year, or 3-year type of temporary that can hopefully provide more sturdy protection from the elements as they are still trying to build their own homes.
Yes, sir. Earlier you also mentioned about tourism, which is the lifeblood of the province. Has the inflow of tourists returned to the province? And what are your plans for the full restoration of the tourism flow?
Yeah, the Bohol remains to be a tourism attraction, and in fact, when we always say when God closes one door, He opens several other windows. We are looking at new tourism attractions in the province. Before we only had 6 circuits of tourism, and now we have added the 7th, which are the geological and geoscience tours in the province, as the relics of the churches, the remains of the churches, or the ruins of the churches are now attractive places to visit. I know that there are efforts to rehabilitate and hopefully restore some of them, but still, even those, it will take some time and resources to do that. The ruins still remains to be attractions, and the Chocolate Hills, all 1,268, are accounted for, except that maybe 2 have been divided into half. It's not destruction, but it's really giving opportunity to people so that they will be able to see what's inside the Chocolate Hills. And the fault, is now also called not only the North Bohol Fault, but it's also called the Great Wall of Bohol. And there are other things that even sinkholes that have been developed are now also being interesting areas to see. But we have to distinguish between those sinkholes that are dangerous, for example. They have to be well protected, and in terms of guide and appropriate guidance from geologists. But some places are really interesting to see. So the natural attractions of Bohol remains intact, and the tourism flow is also picking up a lot since the time the earthquake happened. There was a downside earlier on, but now it's recovering fast, and we're looking also at more normal situations, especially when aftershocks will already be over.
Sir, the President has been very supportive of your recovery in Bohol. What else do you need?
Well, first of all, allow me first to say thank you to the President and to the other officials of the country. They've been coming back here with the cabinet members, Secretary Mar Rojas, Secretary Dinky Soliman, the other officials of the country, the cabinet members, and of course the non-government organizations and the international organizations. We had more than enough food as far as the first 16 days of since the time of the earthquake, and we are continuously providing the family packs with the DSWD now. Secretary Dinky just returned to Manila a few days ago, but we have decided really to give focus on the shelter component. So we hope we can get more support in this area, and we want also to include here the prioritization for the school buildings. Many of our school buildings have been damaged, so we are looking at temporary shelters for the classes of our students and our pupils, and hopefully get back the rehabilitation and reconstruction of many school buildings that have been damaged. So these are priority areas: the roads, the school buildings, and the facilities that provide the services to our people. So these are now the main focus of, and we have coordinated with the agencies of government and the private sector as well for the support.
Thank you very much, sir. Your story continues to be an inspiration to all of us. In spite of all the challenges that you have been facing, you're able to lead your people in a very good light. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, and good evening to everyone.
That's Bohol Governor Edgar Chatto. Thank you for joining us here in NewsLife. God bless you and our people in Bohol.